Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and I am super excited to share with you today these adorable projects made using the Hoot Hooray stamp set. So this stamp set is one that if you have a copy of the current annual catalog, you will not find in that catalog. This is actually from a special publication that Stampin' Up has done for the first time this year. Stampin' Up, with the new catalog year, started a beginner brochure. So this little pamphlet, hi Debbie, how are you doing? This little pamphlet is designed for beginner stampers. So if you are a new stamper or someone who is just sort of getting their feet wet with stamping, this little brochure has some awesome products for you to get started with. And this stamp set is one of them. So I'm going to show you where to find it. It's right near the back. It's on page 12. It's an awesome stamp set. Why? Because it includes images and sentiments. All right. Now, the way the stamps are configured, they're configured with the image and sentiment on the same stamp. Okay, let me just show you. I've taken a lot of these out, but so here's an example. Okay, so this is the cupcake stamp. It has the sentiment right attached with it. One of my favorite things to do when I have stamps that include sentiments and images on the same stamp is I actually perform surgery. Hi, Laura. Long time no see or chat. And what I do is I just take a good sharp pair of scissors and I cut the sentiment right off. So you can see here that I've cut this "You Made My Day" sentiment off of the flower stamp. And I do that with all of my stamps that have images and sentiments. And that makes it a super, super versatile. So much more versatile than if you have the sentiment attached to the image. So you're going to see me using, I'm still going to use this image and this sentiment together, but it gives me more options for my layouts. Okay, so this is a really cute stamp set. We're going to make these 3 cards today. I designed them with a beginner in mind, so it doesn't use a ton of tools, but gives you some fun little ideas to use with this cute stamp set. So we're going to start actually with this flower for you card. And I'm just going to pull in my little basket of goodies here. So I've already started doing some coloring and stamping on this card just because there is a fair bit of coloring and I didn't want you guys to have to sit here and watch me color for hours on end. So I've gone ahead and you'll see there's my flower stamp and that "You Made My Day" sentiment that was on the bottom. Oh, hi Anne, how are you? That was on the bottom, I cut it off. So I just have the flower stamp here. And I've stamped it several times across this piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 inches. And I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Blends to color it. So the colors that I'm using are light and dark Daffodil Delight, dark Pool Party, dark Old Olive, and light Calypso Coral. Okay, now I pulled my color scheme from the colors in this DSP, and I'll talk more about that DSP in a minute. But if you're not sure about what colors to use on a project, pull out your DSP pack. Stampin' Up has done all the color coordinating work for you. So if you just draw your color palette from the colors that are in a pack of DSP, you know you're going to have colors that work well together. Okay, all right, so let's color our center flower here. Now I am using the dark Pool Party on this one. The Stampin' Blends, for those of you who are not familiar with them, are alcohol-based markers. So that means the color goes on really smoothly because it has a slightly longer drying time. And that means that I'm not going to see my brush strokes. If you are trying to color with water-based markers, you're going to see each one of the strokes as you lay the color down. The alcohol markers don't do that, and I absolutely love them for that reason. Okay, so there is my flower. Now, what I did for the center of this flower, I used the dark Daffodil Delight, okay? And on this flower, I'm gonna color another one just like it right here. I used the light Daffodil Delight on the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So we'll just fill that in. And then I'm going to use my light Calypso Coral to color the petals. Who else is watching? Hey, sister, how you doing? You're supposed to be packing, aren't you? Or something? You're going somewhere. You're always going somewhere this month. You're a busy lady. Yeah. So I'm coloring with the brush tip of my marker. I get distracted and then I can't remember what I'm saying. It's bad. I'm like this when I'm teaching in the classroom too. My kids know that they can get me off track just by saying something totally out of the blue. And then I lose my train of thought. I am easily distracted. Okay, so there is my Calypso Coral flower. And then for this one, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to start out by coloring the center of my flower with the light daffodil. And I'm going to keep this out for a second. And then I'm just going to add a little sort of smudgy of the light coral. And then I'm going to come back in with the dark daffodil and blend that out. And that's just going to give a little bit of a shadow to the center of the flower. It's not going to show up real well now. Once that dries, you're going to see it. Whoops. I put the light lid on the dark marker. That's not good. All right, now to color the rest of the petals, I'm going to do the same kind of thing. So I'm going to color 3 of them with the light daffodil. And then I'm going to come in with my light Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to add like a little highlight to each petal, and then I'm going to blend that out again with the light daffodil. And that just adds a little bit of definition and interest to the petals. You could certainly do this with all of the petals. I didn't want to take the time because it does take a little bit longer to color them. But with this flower, you could do just about any combination. So again, I'm going to add my little highlight there. And then we'll blend that out. Daffodil Delight and Calypso Coral work really nicely together if you're wanting to blend color. They are a really nice combination. I work with those two together a lot. Okay, and you'll see how that just adds just a little bit of definition to the petal. Okay. Oh, you're working, are ya? What you working on? Okay, now to color the stems and the leaves, I just used my dark old olive, and my tip on this one is getting quite frayed, so if I color outside the lines, it's not because I don't know how to color it, it's that my tip is getting just a little bit worn out. It's time to get a new one. So I didn't do any shading on the leaves. I just went with the dark old olive, just again, in the interest of time. You certainly could shade these if you wanted to. But again, I'm thinking with the beginner stamper in mind. Okay, and that's all there is to it. It's pretty straightforward. Then here I have a piece of old olive cardstock that is cut to 5 1/4 by 2 1/8. So it's 1/8 of an inch wider than my white piece. And when I layer that, can you see I've got a narrow little 1/16 of an inch border above and below. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue that on. And again, anytime I'm doing anything that requires a bit of wiggle time or I really want to be able to get it centered, I like to use Tombow because that gives me that little bit of wiggle time before it sets up. All right, now I have a piece of DSP. Now this is, can you guess what pack this is from? Anybody know? I bet you'll know right away as soon as I turn it over, but I want to see if anybody can guess where these stripes are from. I know Michelle will know. Anybody else guess? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, I see a couple of thumbs. All right, here it is. I'll turn it over and I'll give it away. Do you know what this one's from? It's from Bird Ballad. So this is the Bird Ballad DSP pack. It has those cute little birds on the back side, but this side is totally fun for anything. We're actually going to use this DSP twice for 2 different styles of card. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and glue that right across the middle of my DSP. And again, if you are someone who has a hard time getting things straight, like I sometimes do, you use the lines on your grid paper to your advantage. It will help you to get things straight. Okay? All right, next I'm going to go ahead and fold my card base. This is an old olive card base. Hi, Wendy. How are you doing? Thank you so much for sharing. This is cut to 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches. It's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it in half along my score line. Use my bone folder to crisp that up. And then I can use my fast fuse because I don't need to worry quite as much about getting this centered. And I'm going to go ahead and stick this down onto the front of my card. I'm going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. Okay. Now the last little bit is to add a sentiment. Now this sentiment, I'll just bring in the stamp set, is actually on this little star stamp. So again, I just took and did a little stamp surgery and cut my sentiment off. I'm going to use this star stamp on another card, actually 2 other cards today. But with the For You on there, it's not as versatile, right? So I cut that off, and the little stars have all kinds of possibilities. So I'm going to ink up my For You in the Memento Black, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp it on just a little strip. So this is a little 1/2 inch strip of just like a scrap of Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm going to pull in my Tailor Tag Punch, and I'm going to do the opposite. Normally I do like a little pennant, but I'm actually going to go do it so I have a little point on this one. So I'm going to just slide my cardstock into the bottom of the punch, just like that, and punch that out. Isn't that cute? And then at the top, I'm just going to trim it off, I don't know, right about there, because I'm going to add a little bow. But first we're going to stick this on, I'm putting it on the finished one, with a dimensional. So we're going to grab a dimensional. Hi Deneen, how are you doing? I hope things are good down there in Virginia. I miss you guys. I haven't been down to see you this summer. All right, so we're gonna get rid of these backings. Come here. And then we'll pop this right here, just above this little flower. So we'll pop that on there. And then we're gonna add a little twine bow. So you're gonna get lots of bow tying lessons today. So this is just a regular white baker's. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. Helping your dad. Oh, that's good of you. I'm sure he appreciates it. Okay, so I'm going to tie my twine bow. So I have just a piece of twine. I'm going to make a loop, hold it in my right hand. I am a righty. I know today is International Left-Handers Day. My son was very happy to hear that. He's a lefty. But I'm right-handed. So I'm holding my loop in my right hand. I'm taking the tail with my left hand, wrapping it around that loop. And then I'm going to pull it through the hole. All right, and that is a very quick and easy little bow. Whenever you are doing bows with twine and you don't want a bulky knot, the bunny ear bow that I often do works really nicely with ribbon. But when you're working with twine, it gives you a little bit of a bulky knot, and I don't like that look. So this one avoids the bulk of the knot. Okay, so now to glue this on, I'm going to take a glue dot. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm kind of rolling it up with my thumbnail there. And then I'm going to press the knot of my bow into that little blob of glue and just press it onto my card, just like that. Super simple. Now my last little touch on this, because you all know, if you've been watching for any length of time, that I'm addicted to Ink of Stella, we're just going to add a little hint of sparkle to each one of the petals on our flower. And that takes a pretty simple card up a notch and makes whoever receives it go, oh, it's sparkly. And everything's better with sparkle, right? Okay, there we go. Done and done. I don't know if that sparkle shows up on there or not, but it's pretty. Now I'll just show you quickly on the sample what I did on the inside. I stamped that flower one more time, and then I used the sentiment. There's the stamp set, right? I use that sentiment that comes with the flower, but by cutting it off the flower, I could put it up beside it and just kind of change the layout a little bit. So that's the inside. You could do whatever you like, but I just thought that was a great little card. You could make, this could be for anybody. It could be a thank you card. It could be a, just a hello. It could be a thinking of you. All right. So there is card number 1, done and done. Let me just make some space here, get rid of a few things. And we're going to move on to card number 2. Number 2 is this adorable little owl. I absolutely love him. In fact, I went a little crazy with him, and I've got a whole bunch of projects that I designed using him. I'm actually going to blog on Thursday with another project that I did. My team blog hop is on Thursday, and we're featuring fall cards. So I did a really cute card using this guy, a cute fall card. So you'll see that on Thursday. Anyhow, I'm going to show you how to color him. So we're going to do some shading with this guy. I forgot to bring my basket of goodies here. So I have here a stitched nested label die. Okay, it's cut from Whisper White cardstock, and I'm going to stamp my owl in Memento Black ink. I got to move these markers out of the way. They are bugging me. There we go. All right, so I'm going to ink him up, and you'll notice that I've cut off the sentiment. We're going to use the sentiment, but it's just not attached to our little owl here. And I kind of did him a little bit cockeyed, so it looks kind of like he's flying. Okay, and while I have the ink out, I'm actually going to use the star image, which I put in another basket. Where is it? There it is. And I'm going to add just a few little stars sort of across the top and across the bottom. We'll just add one more little dot there. Okay, and we're going to color them all. So we're going to start with our owl, and for this guy, where did I put my slate? Put them in the wrong basket, people. There we go. Okay, so when you are shading with blends, I find the best results, or the best shading happens if you lay down a layer. Isn't he adorable, Michelle? I love this little owl. He's my favorite. So I'm going to lay down a layer of light first before I put any dark shadow on. And because I want to be able to blend this out, and these markers, they have a fair bit of drying time, but you know, it's not forever. So I'm only going to color sort of his belly and his wings to start. Okay, I'm just going to do that much. And that is so that it doesn't dry completely before I want to come back and blend. Okay, so there is my light. Now I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm just going to darken sort of around the bottom of his belly here and under the wing. Okay, and then I kind of did a little bit on the little texture of his feathers there, and then a little bit sort of on the ruffle on his wing. Okay, so there's my shadow. Then I'm going to come back in with my light, and I'm going to blend this out. Okay, and you can use either the bullet tip or the brush tip. When I have a large area like this that I want to blend, I tend to use the brush just because it covers a little bit more, and I can blend it out a little bit faster. But you could certainly use the bullet tip if you prefer. The bullet tip, you can apply a little bit more pressure. You don't want to press too hard with the brush tip or you'll fray it, as you have seen on my old olive marker that I was using. It is quite frayed. Okay, so you can see how that shadow that I added has blended out. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and continue and color the rest of him in with the light. So we'll go around his eyes and his beak. I thought it would be really cute to add some little glasses to this guy and make him into a teacher. Wouldn't that be cute for a back to school card? See, I'm talking out loud and I'm giving myself more ideas. Okay, so now again, I'm going to come in with the dark, and I'm going to add some shadow just along the side of his head here. Okay. And again, I'm going to bring back my light and blend this out. And I want to make sure I overlap the first layer that I did down below so that I don't kind of have a line there. And you'll see how the color just, oh, I love blending with these. They just blend so beautifully. It's minimal effort, and the color just, it just moves and blends so effortlessly. There we go. Okay, now I could keep playing with this, but I'm not going to because you don't want to sit here and watch ink dry. So, hi Alfie, how are you doing? Okay, so there is my owl. Now I'm going to color his eyes. For his eyes, I used the Light So Saffron. Now this is a new color in the catalog this year, and it is a perfect, just pale yellow that works really well for this owl's eyes. So again, I'm not going to do any blending, but I do want to make sure that I leave that little white highlight in the pupil white. I don't want to color over that. And then I'm going to bring in my dark Daffodil Delight and just color his beak. Okay. Isn't he adorable? Oh, he's so cute. Now, to color in my little sort of confetti stuff here, I did the stars in the yellow. So this is the dark daffodil. You could use light dark daffodil if you wanted. You could even use the So Saffron if you wanted to sort of highlight his eyes. I'm just going to use the one that was in my hands. And then I'm going to bring in my old olive. And this will be interesting with a very frayed tip. Just hitting those little circles there, just a little confetti. And then I'm going to bring in my dark Calypso Coral, and we're going to color these other little circles here. Again, all of these colors are from the DSP. Okay, I am no color genius. It is all just taken from the DSP. Okay, so he is done. Isn't he cute? Oh, love him. All right. So now we have a piece of that same striped DSP that we used on the last card. This is cut to 1 1/4 inches by 5 1/4, I believe. And I'm going to punch a little banner end. Now I could trim this with my scissors if I wanted to, but I do have the triple banner punch and I want to show you a little trick. So the banner punch is sized to work with easily with a 1 inch, a 1 1/2, or a 2 inch piece of cardstock, right? So this, actually this isn't even 2 inches, this is 1 7/8, but if it were 2 inches, it would slide in there and work in that guide really, really easily. This particular piece, as I mentioned, is 1 3/4 inches, which is too wide to fit in the middle one and too narrow to fit comfortably in the top one. So I can still use it to punch a banner end, but what I have to do is slide it in and then center it in that guide. Can you see that? I've got an email notification here. I need to move this. There we go. Hi, Claire. How are you doing? So I'm centering this in that guide, and you can see I've got, I don't know, it's about 1/8 of an inch on either side. And once that's centered, I can just kind of hold it in place and punch and get a nice banner. Okay, so quick and easy. A lot of people think that this punch is quite limited because it only does 3 sizes, but you can do any size. You just have to be a little bit more careful with it. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I have a piece of Calypso Coral cardstock that I have embossed using the Subtle embossing folder. It is cut to 1 7/8 inches, so it's 1/8 of an inch wider than my DSP by 5 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that on there. So I have just a teensy little border on either side, and it's flush with the top. So we're just going to pop this on here. And again, with the Tombow, it gives me time to get it centered just the way I want it before it sets. All right. Okay, there we go. Now, before I glue my owl on, I'm going to bring in some more DSP. And I bet you can guess where this is from. These cute little birdie feet are from the same DSP pack as the stripes. It's from the Bird Ballad. So the Bird Ballad paper, if you have not yet got this, has beautiful floral and bird images on one side, and then the other side has more generic, sort of bright colored patterns. So this is one. These cute little birdie feet, could they be more perfect? Like, it totally looks like his little feet made those footprints. They're so adorable. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my DSP strip onto my background piece. So again, I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow. And I'm going to have my paper square in front of me on my grid paper, and then use that grid paper to get this centered, or straight rather. Okay, just like that. Now I can go ahead and glue this onto my card base. So this is a card base exactly the same size as the previous card. It's 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 inches. It's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold that in half along my score line. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. I'll use the fast fuse this time. You could totally use Tombow for this as well. I'm just doing the fast fuse in the interest of speed. So I can get this card together for you. There we go. Okay, so that's my card base done. Now, before I pop this guy on here, I have this cute little library clip. These are in the annual catalog. They're just fun little embellishments. And I'm going to show you a little tip. So if you look on my sample here, I've got a little bow that I've tied onto the clip. Now, the problem is that the little bow will slide off quite easily. So what I did to keep that from happening is, again, I took a glue dot and I rolled it into a little tube, and I took the tip of my scissors and I tucked that little tube right in behind the clip. Okay, can you see that? It's just sort of wedged right in there. And then when I put my bow on, it's not going to go anywhere. So now I can go ahead and clip my clip onto my little tag here. So we're going to put it right about there. And then I'm going to take some twine. I'm going to press it into that glue dot so it's not going to go anywhere. And this is another tip too for tying. When you're trying to tie a bow onto something, it's hard to tie it on that little clip. When it's actually attached to the cardstock piece, it's much easier working with a bigger piece. So now it's just like tying your shoes, right? Except with very, very fine shoelaces. So I tied my knot. And my bow, come here, come here. There we go. And then just adjust your loops. But that twine now is not going to go anywhere, okay? It's going to stay on the clip and you don't have to worry about it slipping off. Just makes it much easier to tie it on there, okay? That works with ribbon too, if you are ever wanting to add ribbon to a little embellishment like this. Having it glued in place is much preferable. Okay, now because this has a bit of bulk to it, if I try to glue this flat, it's not going to lay flat. Okay, so I use some dimensionals to pop this up. So we'll just grab a couple, probably 6, and we're going to pop this onto the front of our card. Get rid of the backings here. And I centered it on the strip, okay, on the little banner. So again, you can use the lines on your DSP to help you. Look at the points on your tag to help you get it centered. And I lost one of the tails on my bow. Don't stick back there. It's stuck to my dimensional. Don't do that. There we go. I saved it. I gotta fix my bow now. There we are. Okay, cute, huh? Yeah. All right. Last thing to do is our little Hoot Hoot banner. So this is the sentiment that was attached. Now, just a note, if you ever want to use your sentiment and image together, it is super easy to just go ahead and mount that onto a block together like that and use it as one stamp, right? So don't ever be afraid of cutting your stamps up. It's okay. Okay, the stamp police will not come and get you, but it is a great way to increase the versatility of your stamps. Okay, so now you're all going to go to your craft rooms and you're going to start cutting up your stamps, right? I'm causing carnage. There will be blood. All right, or rubber anyway. The rubber's going to run. All right, so here I have my little Hoot Hoot Hooray and a 1/2 inch wide strip of Whisper White cardstock. It's just a little bit of scrap. And I'm going to center that and stamp. And then I'm going to pull in my tailored tag punch again. And I'm going to make my little banner ends. So again, I'm just going to center that in there and punch. And same thing on the other end. So you kind of go in as far as you can until you can see the sentiment and then back it off a little bit. And then punch. And then I added just a couple of little stars because it's going to go across the bottom of my little tag there. And I just kind of wanted it to blend in. So I just took and added a couple little stars on there. And we're going to color them really quickly. So we'll take our Daffodil Delight, color the stars, and then we'll do our coral. And get our little dots, our confetti. There we go. Okay, that is ready to go onto our card. So we're going to add a couple of dimensionals because dimension is a good thing. Popping things up is fun. Much better than something bought at the store. And I just did this right across the bottom, sort of where the point starts on the label. And there you go. Isn't he cute? Oh, love him. He's so adorable. Hi, Irene. How are ya? I'll just show you quickly what I did on the inside. So here I use that same star stamp. I thought this would be a fun, like you could do this as a congratulations. I think I might put this in my son's backpack on the first day of school and go, happy first day of school, woohoo! Even though I'm going to be crying inside because it's my first day of school too. But you know what I mean? It's always fun to rub it in that he has to go back to school. He's not looking forward to it at all. But this is just a cute card that you could use for just about anything. All right. So that is number 2. Done and done. Let's get this out of the way. I need to save a couple of things here that I need for the next one. And I'll pull in my little basket of goodies. So our last card is this adorable baby card. You would think at my age I wouldn't need a lot of baby cards, but lately I have. I know so many people that are having babies or have just had babies. People from work and customers and whatnot. So I've needed some baby cards lately. And this stamp set has just this adorable little rocking horse image. And I'm going to show you really quickly how I stamped and colored that. So let me pull out my tag. So this is the same size tag I used on the last card. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. Now, just a note, I think I forgot to mention this. When you are coloring with Stampin' Blends, you have to use the Memento Tuxedo black ink. We have several different black ink options. This is the one you need for coloring with blends, okay? It will not run from the alcohol in the markers, okay? So you want to make sure that you are using Memento Tuxedo black, all right? Okay, so we're going to stamp our little rocking horse. Look how cute that is. So adorable. And now on this one, I didn't do any shading. I just colored straight up. So I colored the body of the horse in the light smoky slate. So I will do this as quickly as I can without making a mess. I'm going outside the lines. This is where I wish I could fast forward live video. Don't you ever wish that? Fast forward, so coloring is done. I guess I could have done this ahead of time, but then I wouldn't be able to tell you about some important things about using blends, like stamping with Memento Black. All right, so there we go. Oh, got to do his face. Can't forget his face. Okay, so that's with the light. And then I use the dark smoky slate for the tail and for the hooves and for the mane. Mane? Do they call it a mane on horses? I think they do. You'd think I would know that. I grew up around horses. It's been a while. Okay, now the halter and or bridle, I guess, because we have reins, is going to be in the dark Calypso Coral. I really like this combination because it's fairly gender neutral. Pool Party, the smoky slate, and the coral does not scream boy or girl. So I thought this would work for any baby. So I'm coloring the rockers as well with the coral. This is the dark Calypso Coral. I just had to double check because I was starting to have a moment where I was thinking this was Cajun Craze, but it's not. Okay, so there we go. Okay, that's my horse. And then to color the bear, hey Paula, it's a Stampin' Symphony party here. My team is watching. I better not screw up, eh? So to color the bear, I used the light Pool Party. So I just colored them all just in the same shade. I didn't worry about shading them at all. I couldn't decide whether this was a koala or just a regular bear. It kind of almost could be a koala. I guess his face needs the extra little fuzzies on the side for him to be a koala. And then his nose, I'm going to do just the light smoky slate. There we go. Isn't he cute? Oh, love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so I'm going to set that aside for a minute. Here in my little basket of goodies, I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock. It is cut to 5 1/4. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing? 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I'm going to bring back that star stamp that we used on the last card. I'm just going to give it a quick cleaning because I do not want to stamp in black this time. We're going to stamp in Pool Party. And you see what I mean about these stars? Like, they are super versatile, right? So I'm going to use them to add just a little bit of a border along the edge of my white panel here, just like that. Really easy, okay? That would be much harder to do if the sentiment was still attached, right? Do you see my logic for stamp surgery? You need to cut up your stamps. All right. Now here I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock. So this is from the Color Family DSP pack. So this is from the Subtles family. One side is gingham, the other is this argyle. And I thought argyle was kind of cute for baby, but gingham would totally work. In fact, maybe I will do gingham on this side just because I did argyle on this one. And then here I have just a scrap of Calypso Coral. I think it's about 1 inch and a bit, maybe 1.25 inches wide by 4 inches long. And I'm going to add just a little bit of a border. So whenever I'm adding a border on a larger piece, I run some tape along the edge that I want to add the border to. And then I lay my border piece so that it's square and straight on my grid paper. And then I lay my larger piece over top. And that way you get it even and straight, okay? If I were kind of trying to do it, you know, in the air, or eyeball it, there is no way I would get it straight. Now this is cut a little bit longer than my DSP, so I'm just going to trim that little bit of excess off. All right. And then this is ready to go onto my white panel. Okay, so it's just going to get glued on like that. And for that, I think I can trust myself to use a little bit of fast fuse. And I'm just going to glue this flush with the edge of the white and hopefully get it straight. I have a really hard time with white on white now. My eyes, yeah, see, I didn't get it straight. Look at that. Oh yeah, what can you do? That's all right, I will trim it later. Okay, next I have a little bit of twine, and I'm going to add a little bit of twine to my card. And this is another little trick, so you don't have to tie a bow. Or we will tie a bow, but you won't have to tie it onto the card. So I'm going to take and put a glue dot on the back side of my panel. I'm going to press one end of my twine into that glue dot, and then I'm going to wrap it several times around my card. Okay, and I kind of like doing that crisscross pattern. You don't have to do that. You can do it random if you like, but I just like a little bit of a pattern there. And then I put another glue dot on and adhere it to the back of my panel. Okay, and then I have just easy, cute little bit of twine there. Okay, now I'm ready to glue this onto my card base. Same size as the last two, so it's easy to remember. It's 5.5 inches by 4 1/4, or sorry, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold it in half along my score line, crisp up my folds, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. Oh, don't need that little bit on there. Go away. There we go. So this is going to get centered on my card base, and I'm going to see that white, which is going to bug me, but I can fix it later. So there are a couple ways to fix this. So I can take my snips and trim this, or I can actually take a marker and darken that down. I have done that before too. All right, so now I'm ready to go ahead and pop my little label on there. This we're going to pop up with some dimensionals. And again, I'm going to use 6 because I like my things to stay popped. I don't like them to get squished. So we will get rid of these backings and pop this onto the front of our card, making sure that it's right side up. And again, when you're putting this on, use the lines on your DSP to help you get it straight. Okay. And then we need to stamp our welcome little one. So again, I have a little 1/2 inch scrap. And again, this was originally attached to the bottom of this stamp. Okay. And I cut it off and I didn't die. The heavens did not open. I was not struck by lightning because I cut my stamps up. It is okay to do it. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. Not terribly straight. Let's try that again. This is hard to do. I'm going to just move it a little bit closer to me. I hope you can still see that. There's a greater chance of me getting it straight if I can look down on it a little bit more. Marginally better. All right. So now, again, I'm going to take my tailor tag punch and I'm going to trim my ends. So I'm going to leave a little bit more space because I want to add a little bit of embellishment here. So we're going to do that one. And this one I'm going to leave a little bit longer for my bow. Right about there. Okay. And then this is going to go on to my tag. And you know what? That is a little bit longer. I got to trim it off just a little bit more. So we'll just nip a little bit more off of there. Just like that. That's better. Now, on my original, I did it right in the middle. I don't quite have the space. I'm actually going to do it down below, I think, this time. So I'm going to put a dimensional on the part that is overlapping the card. And then I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow here where it's overlapping the tag because that's already popped up and I don't want it to be double popped. So we'll get rid of the backing on our dimensional. Come here, you. And then we're going to pop this on and I'm going to put it down here this time. There we go. Okay, and then my last little touch is a double bow. So I'm going to show you how to tie a double twine bow. It is exactly the same as doing a single bow. You just need more twine. So I've got my twine. I'm going to fold it so I have a double length. Okay, this is, I don't know, about 8 or 10 inches. You probably don't even need that much. I'm just showing you with lots because it's easier when you have a longer length. So I have my double length. I'm going to make my loop just like I did for my single. I'm going to wrap that tail in my left hand around and pull it through. And that's all there is to it. Like, honestly, double bows are easy. They're just as easy as singles. Now, here's a little tip. When you're doing a double bow, you want one of the loops of your bow to be slightly smaller than the other. And that accentuates the fact that you've done a double bow, right? You want people to notice that you've done a double bow. So I'm going to just play with these a little bit until I get them the size I want them. They're just a little bit big. There we go. And then trim my ends and then pop that onto my card. And this time, because it's a double, I don't need to munch my glue dot up quite so much. I just kind of fold it in half there. And we'll pop that on right about there. Okay. And then last little touch here, I have some of the epoxy hearts. These are clear little embellishments, and I forgot to bring my take your pick over, so I'm going to resort to my scissors. And I'm going to pick one of these little guys up. And I'm just going to pop it just on there like that. Isn't that cute? So cute. So cute. Now on the inside of this, I just stamped some more of those stars just along the edge. And I could certainly add a congratulations, or I could even do Hoot Hoot Hooray, you were born sentiment there, or use another from another stamp set if I wanted to. Okay, so that is the third project. How easy were those? Let me pull in the other two, so you can see them all at once. There we go. Super cute, super easy, adorable stamp set. So if you have not seen this stamp set yet, you need to get your hands on an Experience Creativity brochure. I have lots. If you would like me to send you one, I would be happy to do that. They're also available online, or you can just go to my online store and type in Hoot Hoot Hooray and this will pop up. The cost on this one, I don't even remember. Look at that. It is, how much is it? $29, which is pretty darn great because you're getting 6 images and 6 sentiments. So it's technically 6 stamps, but really you could turn it into 12, right? Because if you cut all these off, that's a pretty great value. So this little brochure I can send out to you in the mail, lickety split, if you would like one, or you can check this out on my website. Now, before I go, I need to remind you that time is running out to order my latest online class. I'm just going to move these out of the way for a second and remind you what my latest online class is. I am offering the Follow Your Art online class. Hi, Martine. How are you? So this class includes this adorable craft room decor piece. It includes 2 standard cards, and then this fun fold, which starts out like this. It starts out vertical and then flips to horizontal. Okay, so this class is only available until the 15th, which is Thursday. I'm missing a card here. There's my other one. I knew there was another card. It was stuck to the back. There's my 4th card. So it includes 3 cards and a fun fold and the decor piece. And I have for you the info to order. So this class, again, is available till Thursday the 15th. It is free with a $60 order. And if you want this class, you have to place your order in my online store at lenagerso.stampinup.net using this host code. That's the only way I will know that you want this class. Okay, so make sure you put that host code in so that I can make sure that I can send these out to you. Okay, so all of the supplies to make these cards will be included in your package that you'll receive from me. You'll also receive a step-by-step tutorial video and a PDF cutting guide for all of the measurements for all the cards. Okay, so if you are thinking about this class, you have only until Thursday to take advantage of it. All right, so don't forget. Okay, everybody, thanks for tuning in for Live at 5, and I will see you next week for more Stampin' Fun. Bye for now.